Welcome to the live stream. I believe today is July 22nd. I am in the city center of Kyiv. That's St. Sophia, I believe, behind me. And this is another one of the very beautiful churches. Thank goodness these have been saved from the Russian attack. Today I'm going to walk over to I believe it's called the St. Michael's Dome Church, but it's actually an open air museum now where there's destroyed Russian tanks, as you probably saw in the thumbnail. I wanted to give everyone an update, what life is like here in Kyiv. As you can see, it's summer, it's beautiful, but there is a feeling in the air of uncomfortableness. Why? Because the son of a bitch, Vladimir Putin, is still attacking. And even though we've had a few quiet days, literally the week I was back, that's when all the missile attacks were happening. And that's why things like this are still covered, because they're afraid that if Russia, drops any bombs, these can get damaged. The churches, they, have been spared, most likely because, maybe that would be the line, right? If Russian people saw that they started destroying the churches, maybe that's when they would finally step up and protest. So far they've been okay with Russia destroying, kindergartens and schools and universities and, granaries and things like that. So, maybe the churches would be the final draw, right? Maybe that's why he hasn't touched them, but who knows? Anyways, let me show you guys around. We're gonna walk that way across the street to that other church. You can see there's people around. I mean, the city is, I would say more than half normal looking, but it doesn't mean things are completely normal. So in today's video, I'm gonna give you an update on everything that's been happening these last 2 weeks that I've been back. Answer your questions. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. If you want me to notice them, you can do one of those super chats, and then they'll stay up there in a bubble for a while. So I'll definitely see it. But go ahead and try to ask whatever you want. Anyways, I do know a lot of people have been asking what life is kind of like. How does it feel? Is it safe? I would say that most things are open again. So since the last time I've been back, exactly 2 months ago, things have opened back up. So most restaurants are open. I would say at least 70-80% of supermarkets and cafes and shops are open. Maybe even more, to be honest. Some close down permanently, whether it's because of financial reasons or otherwise. McDonald's isn't back yet, but KFC is open again. There's less traffic, which is good, but actually cars are starting to come back now. I actually have a car update coming soon in the next video, so check that one out. People are relatively out again. I would say on weekends there's more, but there's definitely way more people walking around than there was when I was here 2 months ago. My plan is to stay here for 2 months. By then I'll probably need to travel again, because that is technically my job. I've actually been back for 2 weeks editing those videos from Romania and from Moldova. So actually, even though the last one just came out 2 days ago, I've been back, but I've been honestly laying low. The first week I was absolutely exhausted from that crazy train ride and the bus ride. I was just so physically tired that I just needed some time to rest. It was also nice being home in Kyiv again. I've actually spent more money finishing my renovations to 100%. I'll have to do a video on an update for that. But even though I know it's a risk, all that money just kind of goes to waste. I figure it's a way to give the locals jobs. So when they come and they, I literally had them come and hang like picture frames and things like that. So, it's still a salary for them because otherwise they would have no work. Um, yeah, and I just kind of been living like a normal life. That's why I've been kind of just chilling out. Bald was supposed to come here. He wanted to come and make a film with me. We had a really cool idea. We wanted to retrace our footsteps. We wanted to go to Irpin and to Bucha, where we were in the video we made together a few months ago, 6 months ago. Well, God, maybe it's longer now, last year. And we wanted to go back to the exact same places we were during that film. And we wanted to show the difference. We wanted to try to find and meet some of the same people again, talk to them again, and see how they would have changed, how their lives have changed. He wanted to donate some money to them, but they wouldn't let him in because he has a Russian visa in his passport. And to be fair to him, he's 100% against the war. Like, I've spoken to him about it offline, but he can't say anything because he has family in Russia. Like, I think he tries to keep his personal life down low, so I respect it, so which is why I don't talk about it. But I mean, imagine if you don't, if he speaks up publicly about it, he can never see his kid, like his child again. So, I think that's why he was in a tough position. But I did convince him to come, and he's like, I'll try. And they denied him at the border. So he tried, guys. Like, give him a break. He tried. I mean, he could do. I mean, everybody could do more. Literally, all of us can do more, right? I can be on the front lines right now. You guys watching can be on the front lines right now. Would they accept us there? No, because we don't have any training. But we can, we could try, right? We can donate 100% of our income and our, sell our cars and our houses to support, to help Ukraine fight. But then we can't live. So I think all of us, if we all just do a little bit and chip in, it actually matters a lot. And that's all we can ask for people. I think it's kind of unfair expecting every single person to give 100% because even in Ukraine, like, people are having a normal life, as you can see. People still need to work. They still need to drive taxis and earn a living. But this is where I want to take you guys here, right? I want to take you to this open air exposition, and I want to show you something that, like, it would have been really cool, right? Like, I think our nostalgia with the USSR is kind of like the same as our nostalgia or our fascination with, like, zombie movies. If something like a zombie apocalypse had happened 100 years ago, it would be interesting to revisit it. It's kind of like Chernobyl, right? It was interesting that it happened, so I want to go back and I want to explore it. Do I want it to happen again? No. Are you guys insane? So it's not that Bald or I want the USSR to happen again. It's not the same way we don't want Chernobyl or a zombie apocalypse to happen now. But it is interesting that it happened and everybody survived it. But now that it's actually happened again, then it's like, what the heck, like, nobody expected it. Nobody expects it to happen, Let me show you guys where we're going. So this now is basically an open-air museum of the destroyed Russian tanks and APCs and the military. This on the left, this isn't even part of the exposition. This is just a statue that they're trying to save, just in case the Russians decide to bomb it and destroy it. This car, on the side, it says Dieti, which means children. This is something very similar. Obviously, it's not the same car. But these are kind of the things I saw when I was in Irpin, Bucha, Gostomel. So it's a good, accurate representation, because there was probably thousands of these, or at least hundreds of cars like this that got shot out, that had kids in it. with the white flags tied, with people's things in there, personal vehicles of people trying to escape. And I know it's real because I personally know people who have escaped Mariupol who lived under siege for a month. And they told me that for them to get out, it's like, it's really difficult because if you had a car, you didn't have gasoline. You're afraid to get shot out on the way out, and the only way to try to escape was to, go with your family, pack up your kids, put the white flags, which, symbolize both peace, but also it was the colors that the Russian soldiers were putting. So it's kind of saying like, look, we give up, like let us pass through, putting signs that say like children on it, but it didn't help, right? Like a lot of Russian soldiers still kill people, regardless of who was in the car, right? So in Kyiv, it's weird because it feels kind of like it's a museum where things are, normally when you have a museum for war, it's because it's ended. Here, it's like a living museum because in Kyiv itself, the war isn't physically here. It's on the east and the south. But the war is still happening in Ukraine, and there's still missile attacks every month here. Like literally the week I got back, there was a missile attack. So the war isn't over, but the immediate ground troops and tanks in Kyiv is over and hopefully forever. But the war, if you go to the east, if you go to the Donbass, if you go to the south, it wouldn't be a museum. It'll be people actually, seeing this in real life. And actually, here's a crazy story. John, thank you so much for the tip. Actually, we had two of them. Jackie Ward. Johnny, I've been trying to catch you in live all year. Over in the States, God bless. Thank you so much, Jackie. I really appreciate it. Appreciate your help as a moderator as well. There were so many troll comments from like Russian probably bots, or what's worse, I don't know what would be worse. Like when I see someone writing this crazy stuff, I always think, God, I hope that Russia's paying them to be a bot, and it's not someone really that stupid to fall for Russian propaganda where they're just spewing these false narratives about like Nazis in Ukraine or Azov or something like that, because none of that was true in the first place. And even if it was, all 700 of the Azov basically died and they gave up their lives. They're like fighting in Mariupol. Like they're gone. So why wouldn't the war be ended? Like why wouldn't Putin just be like, okay, we killed these 700 guys, like, and it was 700 people out of 44 million. So it'd be like 700, it'd be like a small, like, it would be like a fraternity in the U.S. that some country, didn't like, and someone invading all of the U.S. because of Psi, Phi Kappa or something, right? And it's insane. It never made sense. Knock J. How was the Playboy Ukraine? Actually, I haven't unwrapped it yet. I was buying books for like decoration, and I realized I have never bought a Playboy before in my whole life. And now that I am an adult and I can, and I might die any day, so I'm gonna buy one. But I actually haven't read it yet, so I have no idea. Thank you guys for the live chats. Chris, Angeles, thank you very much for the $10. Appreciate it. We have a sticker from, who's this from? Ungato, one cat. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So, yeah, it's strange because I might seem like cheery and happy. And actually, if you listen to my podcast, Invest Like a Boss, we just did a quarterly update. And on one hand, I feel very fortunate to be home and, to be around friends, and, my apartment is safe. But at the same time, I am on edge where it's, I would say every single person in Ukraine feels the same way, where they're very grateful to be alive, and they're grateful every day they wake up. They're grateful that there wasn't, you know, a death in their family the night before, or there wasn't a bomb in their city that day. But everyone at the same time understands and recognizes that it's happening somewhere else. Just because it's not happening in our city, or our friends or our family members didn't get killed, it doesn't mean it's not happening to other people. So it's a weird feeling. All right. Let me show you a little bit more about what's happening here. So I don't know too much about military equipment, to be honest. This might even be two different things. But yeah, like here's a kind of a weird story about being here. I came here with the girl from Mariupol that was staying in a house with her parents. Her parents are actually now living in Kyiv. We found them an apartment, and I paid for the first 2 months of their rent out of the GoFundMe money. So thank you guys very much for that. She told me that when she was here, she can tell who has been through this before, who's seen it before, and who is just seeing it for like the first time as kind of like a, I don't want to say tourist, but like, yeah, like war tourists, right? And we were talking about like actual Ukrainians as well. She says like she can see it in their face when someone looks at something, and they go into shock because they remember, in the last 2-3 months, running for their lives out of fear, not knowing if they're going to die because they couldn't tell from far away if it was a Ukrainian tank or a Russian tank. When they see soldiers from far away, they couldn't tell if it was safe or not. And there's people who, they're from West Ukraine, or they're from the center of Kyiv, and they never, or maybe they had left and came back, and they had never personally seen it. When they look at it, they're like, oh, this is interesting. This is kind of, cool to see. Or they see soldiers and they just feel very comfortable around them. The people who had been through it, she didn't want to get out of the car. She was just like, Johnny, go ahead and go look at it. It's too sensitive for me, it's too real. So I really, really, really felt for her on that. She's actually in the UK now. She's going through this program where she got a 3-year visa. Her parents wanted to stay in Ukraine, so they have their apartment now. But that's another part of sad part is Ukraine has already lost probably a quarter of their population, either due to actually getting killed in battle, tens of thousands of people, or citizens, just random people just getting killed, because of the Russian war, or because of migration, where it's sad to say, but if they went through all the trouble of moving to Canada or UK or even Austria or Germany, and they got a 3-year visa and they got an apartment now, and they got a new job, chances are they're not coming back. And it's really, really sad because I would say out of all the people that I knew, it's probably 20 to 30% are back in Kyiv or back in Ukraine, and the rest, they said they're either not going to come back until after the war, or a lot of them they just straight up told me, they said look, Johnny, I'm going to start a new life in the UK. I got a visa now, I got a job, or I'm going to start a new life in Canada. And whether this war stops, this month or next year, Ukraine will never be the same. And if the war drags on longer, Ukraine's going to lose a lot more than a quarter of their population, And that's kind of to me, one of the saddest parts that nobody talks about, right? The death and destruction of the killings of the tanks is one thing. The death of the killing of the culture and the people, forced migration of people, That's another one, right? Someone just asked, like, why did I come back? Why don't I just move to another country? Why don't I go back to the U.S.? It's because, 2 years ago, I decided to make Ukraine my home, right? Invested, you know, my money and my soul here. And even though, it really, like, I'm still technically a temporary resident, I never got my permanent residency because the war happened. I was supposed to be a permanent resident by now. I was supposed to get it last month, but, the office is closed and things happen, so it's never happened. So I probably lost, $200,000-$300,000 in that process of coming here to invest in property, lawyer fees, the application fees for permanent residency. And it's crazy, like, So somebody just asked, this question that always comes up about 2014 killing of Ukrainians. Honestly, if you're a Russian troll, like, good on you for bringing that up all the time because it brings doubt in people's minds. But if you're actually not being paid by Russia, please do some fucking research. You're an idiot. Because here's what happened, okay? Is in 2014 in the Donbass, right, in the east, Russia decided to basically bring in their unmarked military. They started pumping propaganda into the country saying, Ukraine hates Russian speakers. I was in Kyiv. I only speak Russian, and all my friends here only spoke Russian. I have friends in Odessa as well, as all Russian speaking. They never felt any of that. It was all Russian propaganda. And then they created these Russian-backed separatists. Like, I literally, had met people who were afraid to go to Lviv because they had heard that if they could speak Russian in Lviv, that they would be beaten up. And that was completely untrue because I personally spoke Russian in Lviv because I don't speak Ukrainian. And so yes, there has been a lot of civilian deaths since 2014, but it was 100% Russia's fault for creating Russian-backed separatists, arming them, bringing their military in. And it sucks that there's casualties on both sides. And it sucks even more that there's casualties in the middle, just civilians. But it's 100% Russia's fault, right? The history of Ukraine and why so many people speak Russian is very complicated. Partially, it's because during USSR, they sent a lot of Russian speakers to live in Ukraine so they can Russify it. It's really similar to what's happening right now in Hong Kong, where mainland China is sending mainland Chinese people to live in Hong Kong. So in 5 years, there'll be a majority Mandarin speakers. And then they can take it over and say, oh, look, Hong Kong's no longer Hong Kong. All right. China and USSR, they're both communists. It's a very kind of similar way to do it, right? Damien, thank you so much for that. Keep up the great work, Slava Ukraine. Rodom Slava. From Poland. Oh, dziękuję. You know, the polls have been amazing. Thank you guys so much. And shout out to any Lithuanians here. Ačiū, guys, because you guys have been really, really amazing for being such a small country as well. All right. So let's take a look at some more of this. I'm happy that these are here and they're destroyed and people can see it. But it's also weird because I saw this in Irpin and Bucha and in, these small villages around. And knowing that, these were used to kill people, it's really sad, Wally, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And also, Ali Jack, keep up the good spirits, big guy. Appreciate that. Right, this little kid shouldn't have to go through this, right? I think it'd be cool if the war ended, and in 5 or 10 years we can go back and like look at this as a museum. But knowing that it's still happening now, like to me, it's it's terrifying, right? Like I saw all these things in the middle of residential, streets, right? Like LB, thank you very much, and Khalidit. Oh, hello from Zuid Africa. Thank you very much, Donkeyville. Right. So I don't know that much about any of these. I'm sure somebody in the comments will say like that's a BMP, that's a whatever tank. This is like APC or something, but I'll leave that up to you guys. I'm gonna walk down towards Krishadek. Trenez from Czech. Thank you very much for that. Yes, I still have my car. There was some problems with it. That's gonna be the next video, so you guys can watch that. But yeah, it's very strange to be back. I would say that. That's probably the best way to sum this up. Is as much as there's always two sides in any war, I can 100% say that if Russia just stopped attacking Ukraine, it would end tomorrow. Like it would, and if Russia never physically attacked Ukraine, none of this would have happened. Like it's 100% their fault for starting it. Like if you had asked me before the war had started if there could be negotiations about like NATO expansion or the U.S. Meddling or anything like that, yeah, then I'll say yeah, definitely 100% like have that conversation. But now I'm just like, come on, guys. Walk spot. Hey, Johnny from Moldova. Why so many pounds, mate? Hi, I'm from Moldova, but I live in the UK. It's happy to see you in my country. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was cool to be there. I wanted to spend more time there, to be honest. My original plan was to spend a few days more in Romania, and then a few days in Moldova. But the girl from sorry, the bells are beautiful. Don't know if you distracted me. Yes, I think this is Saint Sophia behind me. The girl from Mariupol needed to get to the UK before her invitation expired, and she really wanted to thank me by cooking me some borscht. And Charlie loves borscht, so I couldn't say no. So I rushed back just so I could have the borscht. I know it sounds ridiculous, but also she wanted to just to meet me like in person and introduce me to her parents, which is nice. What would you say to Putin if you were to meet him? I don't know, man. Like, I mean, besides wanting to choke him, and like, I mean, I would ask him like, why the fuck are you doing this? And first I would beg him to stop. Second, I would I don't know, and I would ask him what the fuck is he doing, because none of it makes any logical sense. And I think that this is why I misjudged this war so badly. It's because it didn't make any logical sense. I knew there's zero chance that Russia was going to be able to take and keep Kyiv, because Ukraine just would not put up with a Russian government here or a Russian puppet president here. I knew that it would be terrible for the Russian economy. I knew that it just didn't make any sense, and even now it doesn't make sense for him to continue it. But he's not a logical person. Maybe the only thing I can think of now is he just is so delusional with wanting the great Russian Empire back, the great USSR back, that he's willing to do anything, and he just really doesn't care about his people at all. Power corrupts, right? It's like, the ending of Game of Thrones. Sorry to spoil it for anyone who hasn't watched the final episode 4 years ago, but power corrupts everyone. and we don't, it doesn't make any sense. We're like, no, this is stupid. There's no way, Daenerys would have gone mad. Power corrupts everyone. It's insane, but it's true. Skunk Works. Hey Johnny, what is the local vibe that Russia will annex the lands they took over the east? It's weird because people really, they don't talk too much about local politics because there's so much going on all the time.
Hey Johnny.
Hi, how are you?
See you. You're back here.
I came back. How are you?
Have a nice time.
Yeah, are you from Ukraine?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm doing a live stream. Someone just asked a question.
Ah.
They said, how do locals feel about Russia trying to annex the east?
Yeah, basically nothing changes. So we don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
All they care about is force, brute force. So
Yeah.
whatever ways they take to legalize it or whatever they say, doesn't matter. Only brute force will decide. So thank US, thanks HIMARS. I think it's going the better way. So their number of shelling decreased because their ammo depots got blown up by HIMARS. So
Yeah, I felt like the last week that we've
Yeah.
been here, everything's been more quiet.
yeah. Also the rocket shelling. Yeah, they do shell, but somehow this large series, like when during like 5-7 days they shelled like
Yeah.
tens and tens of rockets. Yeah. Not-
But what do you think is going to happen in Kharkiv? You know anyone there? Or?
I actually have a family from Kharkiv living in the apartment right now. So, their families are there, parents are there. People got this threshold a bit lower and lower. So if your district is not get shelled, you're basically feeling safe there. So it's
crazy.
this psychology. I mean,
Yeah.
they have kids, so I said, please, people, you can stay there by me at my flat. So anything can happen. I mean, they're telling that they're planning something, but what I'm getting from my friends who fight, they say they're getting more and more exhausted. Actually,
I would imagine they
Yeah.
are, but the fact that they're still fighting, and
Yeah.
it's been so long, like,
come on, there is no way back. I think it goes. He will bring this poor country and our poor country to to some kind of end. I hope it will not be the end for Ukraine, but
I hope it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But how do you? Are you from Kyiv or?
No, I'm from Poltava, so it's more to
close
the
by,
east. We got
Yeah.
kind of protected by Kharkiv more or less. So
Yeah, thank you to Kharkiv for defending us.
yeah.
I feel bad. I actually have an apartment in Kharkiv. I wanted to go see it, but it's still so dangerous. Like every other day, there was like a shelling there. So.
Yeah. People still go, get their stuff or pet or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's kind of dangerous. Yeah, I would not advise against it. Yeah.
And do you feel safe in Kyiv now, or?
Yeah, it's nowhere safe. I mean, we are also probably not feeling safe right now. So, but the probability is quite low that we get hit right now. So
Yeah.
We get used to it. So like in Israel, I think unfortunately we will have, in worst case, years ahead of us. If we have luck, then maybe
but
less.
we don't have this iron dome.
Yeah, we will get it. I think eventually.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And okay, so do you think I'm stupid for coming back?
No, I understand you. I actually me and my wife, my two kids, were living in Germany for almost like 15 years, and we got back like at the end of 2021. Although we knew there is a danger, like any time was a danger for a full-scale invasion, still, we plan to go back, and we simply did not see our lives there. We see our life here because there are so many opportunities here. There's everything established, infrastructure and bureaucracy, and here it's like a free playground. You can do whatever you like.
Yeah, I that's what I liked about Ukraine. And it's like I felt like there's a bright future here.
Yeah.
Hopefully
It still is. Yeah.
Okay. Well, danke schön.
Yeah,
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, angenehm.
Ciao. Well, guy, that was super interesting. Like, everyone is so positive, right? It's so crazy that you would think that people would be, more bitter, but people are so positive. It's crazy. All right. Ken Chappell, thank you, Mr. Canadian. The Ukraine Experiment. Hello, Johnny. I love the channel. Keep the good work. I also hope to return soon. I hope so as well. And we have one more. Anthony Martinez. I have a friend and her 5-year-old who live in Kyiv. I know they're relatively safe there, but I can't help but worry about them at least. I can talk to them almost daily. I wish I could be there. Yeah, I think it's kind of this guy that we just bumped into. He kind of summed it up best, right? Where it's like relatively safe, right? Like the odds of us personally getting missile attacked or bombed is, it's less, for sure less than 10%, but probably more than 1% of us dying, right? But it's like maybe we also get too comfortable, where everything kind of feels a little bit more normal. We're like, okay, our district didn't get, shelled today. And actually, even this word shelling, I really don't like it because it doesn't sound like that crazy of a thing. Like, what does shelling mean? Shelling means artillery fire. These giant, like, basically, not tanks, but like, these giant, not a machine gun, but like a machine gun attached to a tank shooting. Maybe I'm like, honestly, I've never been a very, very into like military stuff. So I'm sure some of you guys who play Call of Duty know way more about all that than me. But yeah, it's like in the beginning, I mean, it's like this, okay? I don't know how many of you grew up in the US, but I remember when 9/11 happened, even though it's on the other side of the US, it was only in New York, I was in California, I was still super scared because knowing that a country or, a terrorist group, which Russia is basically now, at least the Russian military and Putin, came and they just got away with destroying, and killing people. It's scary, right? And the fact that it's happening at all in your country, it's scary as hell, right? But after that kind of subsides, you're like, okay, well, at least there's no tanks physically in this city anymore. Okay, well, at least the missiles are only attacking once a week now instead of every day. We kind of just get used to it, and it's not a good thing to get used to it. I'll say that. It's not good that we're getting used to it. All right. And it's also not good where if the world gets used to it. Like, I'm really happy all of you are on this live stream, that there's still over 1,000 people on here, because I was afraid that people would stop caring. Because, you get kind of immune to the news. You're like, we know there's a war happening. It's not as bad as it was 6 months ago or 4 months ago. And that's the scary part. Right. So we had another question. Wayne Smiles asks, how's my car? My car is relatively fine. I had a friend drive it, so it's okay. But it broke down. It had a problem, which I kind of expected from being a used Porsche. But I have a video coming out 2 days from now that is gonna explain everything. So keep an eye out for that. All right. Johnny shows us keeping out the shelling. Yeah, I'm not gonna go to the front line. You guys are insane. You guys can go there. A+ Russian. Appreciate your honest reporting and passion for the new home. What's your plan for residency now? Can you keep living there? Slava Ukraine. I'm planning to stay. Like, I'll still travel here and there. I'll probably leave in 2 months to go on a trip and then come back. But this is my home. My house is here. My friends are here. Even though more than half of them have left Ukraine and are not coming back, but I still have a good group of friends here. I still feel at home here. For residency, my lawyer said she checked with the office. They're open again, but they're just slow because all the stuff that happened. So it's going to be another month or two before we get any word on what's going to happen. I'm walking towards Krashadik now in Maidan, so you guys can see what's happening there. Yeah, but I would say life in Kyiv is like very relatively normal. I can't go to the front lines and film, especially not with this camera. I don't even have like a zoom lens. It's too dangerous to go there. It's even too dangerous for me to go to Kharkiv right now and check out my apartment. I have no idea if it's okay or not. Like, I don't want to die, guys. Like, before the war, I had a very good life. You know, I was making travel videos on YouTube. I had an online business. I'm not, I never wanted to be G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe kind of just happened to stumble upon. I didn't even want to be a war correspondent. This isn't the type of content I want to make. I'd rather make fun videos of just drinking and hanging out, That's kind of the honest truth, right? Is like a lot of people really stepped up. A lot of people gave up their jobs, and they did so much more than anyone thought they were capable of. And then honestly, a lot of people are just living their normal life as well. Like, it's like when you look around, not every single person here is in the military or volunteering or doing anything. A lot of people, they're just living their normal life because in a country of 44 million people, you're only going to have so many people who have the skills or the ability or the resources to be able to participate in the war effort. And I know for me, my biggest strength was the tools I have with online, an online audience reach. So if I can keep people's mind knowing that we need to continue supporting Ukraine, that we need to keep our politicians sending HIMARS and other air defense. If I can help collect donations to be able to send to people, like literally 5 minutes before this live stream, this woman from Mariupol, who I helped last month, said, "Look, I really hate asking you, but we spent all the money on medicine because the kids were sick. I want to go buy some sugar and flour tomorrow. Like, is there any way you can send, just like a couple hundred of, hryvnia, like not like she wasn't asking for a lot of money." And these are things I don't even post because it's like $30 here and there, but literally every day I'm sending people money because it's been 5 months now and their situation hasn't gotten any better. So it's either they starve or we continue helping people. So thank you so much for everyone who's donated through GoFundMe. Through YouTube, you can also donate, but to be honest, like these big charities like Razom for Ukraine, they're probably the best out of all the charities. But I still don't know, like I don't know what they're doing. Like they're not, they're not as transparent as I would like them to be. At least like when you guys donate to my GoFundMe, I try to update you guys as often as I can. Usually on like every other video there's something. But these big charities, like they're slow. Like if you guys watch the video where we donated money to the Romanian school for Ukrainians, like that was an instant help for them. And then UNICEF helped them even more. But it took UNICEF literally 2-3 months to start. Like they're just slower. Chris, thank you very much. So I think that's why it's good to kind of have both, right? So let me guys show you where I am now. This is Maidan. A lot has happened here. If you guys haven't seen Winter on Fire, that was a really good documentary on Netflix to show the overturn of the corrupt government back in 2014. That's actually kind of what triggered all this, all right? So for those who don't know, from the 90s and 2000s, Ukraine had a lot of corruption, right? It was part of the Soviet Union for so long. There was so much corruption there that they inherited a lot of it. And in 2014, people got sick of it. And they're like, you know what? Screw these, this president who is just lying to us. Let's overthrow and let's have our own, democratically elected president. Some people say that the U.S. meddled in it. I'm sure the U.S. was happy not to have a Russian puppet president anymore. So they may have tried to help support somehow, but they definitely didn't start it. They didn't cause it. If they did anything, it was definitely like less than a 5% effort. Like 99% of that effort was on the ground in Ukraine. And you can just ask any Ukrainian, like, did you guys want that government overthrown? They would have said yes. So if you ask people from the Donbass or from Mariupol, from these places, like, did you want to be part of Russia? They said that, and these are people I personally met. I've had a lot of discussions with people. Not a carpenter, but with the guy who does like wood stuff in my apartment, he's from Donbass and Donetsk, and he moved to Kyiv, after the last war. And I asked him, I said, like, did you guys want to be more part of Russia? And he said, in some ways, yes, because they have higher pensions and, cheaper gas and things like that. But then definitely after Russia took Crimea and they just kind of showed their ugly teeth, they're like, yeah, like, no, like very few people wanted to be part of Russia. And then especially after this war, like pretty much 0% of the people actually want to be part of Russia. Like, they're just being forced to be part of it. So, there's always going to be some, extremists, especially ones that fall for the Russian propaganda. But, like, the vast, vast majority, like, are very happy to be part of Ukraine. And it's kind of like saying if France decided to back... what do you call it? The Russian, the French-speaking part of Canada, and they just started sending weapons to them. It's like, is it really like a civil war, or is it France attacking Canada? So, yeah, it's crazy, right? Sent a sticker. What is this sticker? Oh, Amour Merci. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And wow, I got a big donation actually. This is gonna definitely buy me a nice dinner after this. I am starving, by the way. I don't know how to flip it. Lithuanian soldier, or LTU soldier, God bless you for this. Please send this donation money to any Ukrainian family that you have just mentioned. You know what? I'll send it to her right away, right after this. All right, I'm gonna send all $50 to her. So thank you so much for that. She's gonna be very happy because I sent her 30 just before this, which is enough to buy some basic groceries for the week in Ukraine. But it's always nicer to have more. So appreciate you guys, for your help. All right. So here is Maidan, guys. All right. It's pretty quiet. Actually, there was like a little bit of a protest. Not a protest, like music concert, like earlier. I don't know what you call them, like a gathering, right? Where like people wanted to come show support. There's always news people here. This is kind of where they like to give updates. Actually, I think it's either up there. I don't know what that shot is. That everybody, it's probably from one of these balconies or something. That every newscaster in Ukraine is always standing from. But I like to be boots on the ground. I don't need to be on a balcony, guys. I'm down here. But, yeah. How much does YouTube take for the fees for the super chats and the money? I think it's 20 or 30%. So, like, if you send $100, I probably get 70 from it. So if you want to, like, I appreciate the money that comes through here, and it's, it encourages other people to send it, which is good. But if you want to send a big amount, the GoFundMe would be better. It's in the description, because they only take like 3% or something, or maybe 5 or 6%. I don't know what the exact amount is, but you can also, like, on there, like on the GoFundMe, when you donate $100, Ukrainian guy, the German Ukrainian guy said earlier, if it wasn't for the support from NATO and from the US, sending all the HIMARS and everything, Ukraine wouldn't be able to survive. So from whatever country you guys are from, if it's a country who's been sending support, thank you guys, because you're the reason why my apartment's safe, their lives are safe, and yeah, you know, we have to keep it going, because the biggest fear is the next thing will happen and people kind of just forget, right? Like in Ukraine, people can't forget. People want to forget, right? Like we wish we can just move on and forget completely, but we can only kind of tune out for some time, and then something happens to remind us. So here we are, guys. I'm gonna sign off in a minute, but just wanted to show you Kashadik. This is where I normally this is where I normally do the live streams from. So Diaku, you guys, thank you very much. If you want to support any of the families we've been helping or the causes, check the description below or the description box for any of the previous videos. Diaku, see you guys.